Hello and welcome back to the Warcraft 3 Fight Night. It is round 3 already. We've had two very exciting best of fives in the past already. And HunteR, every single time, he maintained his pole position. He defended his title successfully. 14 days ago, it was against Pride in an epic 5-match series. Couldn't have asked for more, basically. But today, he has to face the Orcish Horde yet again because we have a new challenger that's waiting impatiently already. And that one is none other than Root Gaming's KiWiKaKi Grubby. And I think that is a player that all of us are looking forward to seeing.
I was just telling Cassandra, my wife, I was like, I'm so looking forward to seeing KiWiKaKi play because his style is totally different. I'm glad he came into this tournament. HunteR, he's 3-0, 3-2 so far in his matches. KiWiKaKi might be his toughest challenge yet. He doesn't play according to the standard mold. And if you guys want to see his interview with Kendric, I believe the command !interview should interviews.
There we go.
Takes you right to it. It was nice to see his thoughts about this. He's like, I don't play the meta. I like surprising people with my strats. And Logan likes surprising everyone with his squeaky toy.
I wasn't really sure if that was our production lady Jules trolling us or what was causing these noises. I like it.
Thank you, Logan.
Awesome. Yeah, but basically, I think it's safe to say that this round of Fight Night is probably the most anticipated one yet. A lot of people, I think, at this point are keen to see HunteR fall, to crown a new champion. Others might support the reigning defending champion a little bit more. But it is safe to say that, as you said, Grubby, KiWiKaKi, he does not play by the standard rules. He's here to shake things up. And I think in the pre-game interviews that we had, HunteR knows about that, though. He said that KiWiKaKi is known to play some Farseer headhunter style sometimes. So I think he's prepared. The question is, can you prepare against someone like KiWiKaKi? Or is he always finding a niche, always finding a corner to surprise you from?
Well, you can prepare mentally, right? But you're not going to find someone else that's playing like him. And that's the strength of players like KiWiKaKi. The meta generally means, though it doesn't stand for it, the most efficient tactic available. So if you're not playing it, you are playing an expected lower win percentage strategy. But because your opponents can't practice for your style, if you get better and better at it, well, you've got an edge. And HunteR, who is he practicing with? Maybe with Pride, who he beat 2 weeks ago. It's possible. Maybe just on the ladder. We don't know. But is he going to find a Farseer Alchemist player with Mass Headhunter into Bloodlust? Something like that? Unlikely. So very excited to see exactly what KiWiKaKi is bringing and maybe what HunteR is doing differently from 2 weeks ago. Because HunteR played the same style 5 times in a row against Pride.
I was going to say, 14 days ago, it was more like, the same styles clashing and colliding over and over again, and the one with a better execution then took away the victory. This time around, though, HunteR could potentially be pushed really out of his comfort zone when KiWiKaKi, brings him on the edge. But ladies and gentlemen, the game is already on the way, and we are playing our map 1 here, which is...
Last Refuge. Last Refuge.
There we go. Almost at Concealed Hill because on these mini-map icons, they sometimes look very similar. There we go.
Yeah. And something very strange is going on already, Kendric. We have a barracks first into Burrow, and that means Tavern Hero first with Grunts. So sick. Getting the special strats coming out here already. And KiWiKaKi representing Root, the American clan. I think... Cats, do you still have Root under your belt? Like, it's been so long, I don't know. Like, in StarCraft...
I actually checked Cat's profile today, and he's still with Root Gaming.
Okay, cool. So he's here cheering for his dude. We're going to see some Tavern Hero first, and we have Keeper of the Grove on the other side.
So the question is, Grubby, what Tavern Hero are we going to see, right? Orcs have experimented a little bit against Night Elf. We saw some Tavern Hero action as second or third hero sometimes to, really waltz down the expansion. Pit Lord was used as well recently. I think I saw a game there. But first hero, that is certainly very interesting.
Yeah, it's basically 12.5% chance of all heroes because there's 8 options. But if we narrow it down to the more likely ones, we're first going to eliminate Beastmaster and Firelord. They're summoners. Wisp Detonate is going to be strong against them, so I don't
Dark
think it'll be
Ranger
those.
also, perhaps, for this matter.
Yeah, probably equally unlikely. Wisp's going to detonate all those skellies. Then there's potentially Tinker. You just added a browser source. Yeah, it could be Tinker, who has summons as well, Naga, but I think most likely is maybe Alchemist or Pitlord. I'm gonna go with the Alchemist.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Normally, Alchemist is everyone's favorite second hero, you could say. But this time around, we see the Alchemist being deployed as the first hero of the orc and goes for the Frenzy already. The Chemical Rage is now active, gives him bonus attack speed and bonus damage, if you will. So makes him a little bit more vulnerable too, though.
Yeah, I like what he was doing there. He wanted to get some auto attacks off on the keeper, and he got about 3-4 hits. But as soon as he saw that the damage versus damage taken trade was not going in his favor, he pulled back immediately, and he didn't walk through 3 trees to try and damage the keeper more. So his point isn't to kill the keeper, it's to get positive trades. And yeah, Kiwi did that really well. He also went with a triple grunt into tech at 26 food. Without upgrading something like Backpack, he can't, he has no shop, or Pillage. So this is not a dedicated some kind of all-in. He's value playing here, and he's wanting to make sure that the keeper does not get level 2. Now, and I think Alchemist is doing this job a little better maybe than what Blade Master could. Chemical Rage is a better chase tool than Windwalk because you can use it infinitely. And that's actually true because the regen is quicker than the Chemical Rage's mana expenditure. So anytime they meet and there's no entangle, the keeper will take hits from Alchemist. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the grunts are basically following the same principle. You know, like all they do is chase the keeper of the grove away from minions, from mercenaries. Excuse me, from creeps. Sorry, now I got them all through.
Got him.
So got him. Yeah, gotta shake off that Heroes of the Storm influence.
Dude,
there.
I was talking about food in StarCraft 2 when I was analyzing it last week.
But it's really cool to see how the grunts are basically just right-clicking on the keeper, preventing him from creeping, preventing him from even setting up that fast expansion that we're so used to seeing. So now perhaps, though, with the help of all these trees, he might get a cheeky surround in, and that was really well done, actually, by HunteR. Getting that early grunt, decimating the forces of KiWiKaKi a little bit.
Yeah, and that's so important because at this experience count, keeper that kills a grunt, which he just did, it gives him exactly enough experience to level up to get entangle, and it changes the whole scales of the battle and tips them in favor of HunteR. So you see Kiwi snap calling, leaving the situation when his grunt is doomed. He has no Blade Master to do some kind of Windwalk, bust him out of prison break type of thing. So he just leaves and he starts to creep the mercenary camp. Gets a Troll Priest, Sharp is finished in his main base. In the meantime, Keeper is creeping a little bit as well. But the weird thing is, he does not take this camp. He leaves and goes somewhere else. I don't know what data he has received to change his plan. Did he have a Wisp Scout that got killed at the Merc camp, or did he just change his mind? I don't know.
Perhaps because there was no more pressure coming in from KiWiKaKi for some time. You know, maybe that gave HunteR the clue to say, I don't see a peon, I don't see anything from the orc, he must be creeping somewhere. And perhaps with that Alchemist being a little bit less, stable and a little bit less tanky than the Blade Master early on, he can find him in a good spot. And he did find him in a really good spot. Level 2 is there, though. The Healing Spray already taking care of some of the hurt units, including the hero himself. But HunteR is going deep into this orc base.
Yep, we do have an Abolish, but the Troll Berserker is in compromised position, and two very clever moon hide locations with the Hunters and the Archer actually kill a Troll that would have otherwise definitely escaped. So well played, and he's continuing that block, so Kiwi actually trying to return the favor with the peon to the bottom at the altar, trying to lock in the elf, and that nets him a very nifty Hunter skill. Good job, nice burrow shooting and peon block. And out comes the Shadow Hunter. Now if he goes for Hex, he goes for Serpent Wards to defend rather than to try and get more kills.
And a really cute move there as well by HunteR was that he actually bought the Dust of Appearance as well, so there was no surprise. And these hidden Night Elf units right now, they cannot be detected by the Orc player. And thus, with a safe TP to save those units eventually, though, because daytime is around the corner, I think he built up a lot of pressure already, but most importantly, no expansion plans so far from HunteR. So this is already shaping up to be a little bit of a different game, yet the second Ancient of War is on the way. So he's not deviating his plans in terms of tech, you know, and later tier 2, tier 3 units, but he's shaping it up a little bit differently in terms of expansion speed.
Yeah, right. I'm glad you're pointing that out because indeed last week we saw one archer triple huntress pressure play on the orc base, and he would throw down an expansion away from the gold mine to walk it there subsequently. But as you said, he has not got that situation and still decided to go for the second Ancient of War. The reason that's interesting is because he's got all the setup necessary to do a transition. Huntress Dryad, Huntress Bear, Huntress Mountain Giant, or maybe Talons and Cyclone. All archetypical common strategies for Orc, for Night Elf, excuse me. But he's not going for that. He's still going for the double war, but without the benefit of the second base economy. Is that gonna work against this highly developed army for KiWiKaKi? He's currently sitting on Grunts and Shamans, but he's going tier 3. So we're gonna have things like Bloodlusted Grunts and Snakes against mere Huntresses and Archers.
Yeah, and you summarized it perfectly there, Grubby. I mean, without that second base, without the second Ancient of Life, Tree of Life for the additional income, every Huntress becomes so much more valuable, right? Because you can no longer trade inefficiently, but still overwhelm your opponents over time. And when there are so many counters available, high-level Orc heroes, high-level Snake Wards, you know, a lot of stable Grunts who absorb a lot of the damage, then I think these Huntresses are not going to trade that well anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. They do have that devotion aura, they are in good numbers, and this is pre-Bloodlust. And it's a wonderful creep track, and we might see a steal.
Oh, we get
the Mana Stone on HunteR there. The experience went to KiWiKaKi.
Yeah. But that was a big steal, and the fight is not done yet. First Grunts are getting into the red zone here. One is falling, or is it? The heal spray not enough to save that one here. The minions, sorry, the creeps are also attacking from the left-hand side, dealing a little bit of extra damage. But it looks like the Night Elf is retreating a little bit. Some of the Huntresses are already weakened as well, and they're fighting dangerously close to the Orc base otherwise here. Some Serpent Wards for additional zoning as well. And as you said, Grubby, the experience on the side of KiWiKaKi, that's very important. Orc heroes are so important to allow the Orc player to dominate in the mid-late game. But, and I think this is a big but here, the Mana Stone went over to the Alki of HunteR, which is such a big item. Of course, he swapped it over to the Keeper of the Grove, so he can have more Treants, more Entangles. So this fight is far from over.
Yeah, I think it looked like HunteR was regrouping there for a moment, but a very nice surround. Staff of Teleport will actually free the Keeper from that, and there's no interrupt on the side of KiWiKaKi, so cool moves on both sides. Now though, Staff of Teleport has been used, there is no invul, there is no TP. If there is another Purge Focus Fire on a hero, that could be a kill for Kiwi. So HunteR will have to mind his positioning as he's determined to hit a pre-Bloodlust timing. And the timing was good, got that Mana Stone, and he's just straight up going for it. In the meantime, Tree of Life is being produced 40% of the way near the natural of HunteR. We're going to keep looking at the fight because everything is breaking loose. It's going for that barracks.
That is crazy. That is a really important fight here for HunteR because, as you said, the expansion is currently building up. But some new units have found their way into the army roster of KiWiKaKi. Some Headhunters now in the backline, providing additional piercing damage onto those unarmored Huntresses. And the Alchemist on the side of HunteR took some severe damage, needs to retreat for now, has no items, no invul, no healing potion, and the TP is not there anymore either. So I think HunteR, he has caused a lot of commotion, enough distraction as well for the expansion on the bottom side to go up if he manages to retreat and heal up. But he actually decides to take a little bit of a detour and get some additional creeping in there.
Yeah, he wants to get that Alchemist up to level 3. We have a little bit of a pause here as we evaluate what just happened there. So he was trying to kill the barracks to prevent the Headhunters from being able to get the upgrade Berserker Trolls, which gives them bonus 100 health and the ability to do a debuff on themselves. They take 40% more damage, but they get 50% more attack rate, I believe it is. So it makes them a lot more threatening. And we can see already that Headhunters are doing so well against Huntresses, specifically Huntresses that aren't fighting back, that are just trying to kill the barracks. That cost them dearly. 4 Huntresses were felled in this exchange. And although the Tree of Life is just about finishing and HunteR sitting at 45 plus food, KiWiKaKi has a far more developed hero combination and army choice at the moment. Bloodlust is halfway done.
That is going to be a very interesting moment here as well. There are no additional tier 2 units coming. And guess what would have been great against the incoming Bloodlust? Dryades, for example. They could have dispelled. Of course, he can still use and fall back on Wisps to get the job done, but these are oftentimes a little bit hard to get and micro well because they also die very quickly if there is good focus fire by the Orc. So let's see how quickly the anti-Bloodlust measures are going to hit in those upcoming fights.
Yeah, exactly. Archers are going to do nicely, but he has no fairy dragons, which would be great against shamans, but bad against headhunters. Same with dryads. Great against shamans, bad against headhunters. So really, the unit that counters both of these, the only unit in the Knight of Arsenal, would be Mountain Giants with tier 3 upgrades, and he's very far away from that.
Yeah. Speaking of the expansion, though, it finally has settled in, and the entangling process on the gold mine is currently starting. Now, KiWiKaKi, he has a couple of hurt units. He also lost Headhunter, I think, while creeping his own expansion, but he's buying a tiny Great Hall. That goes up way faster. It's a little bit more expensive, of course, so that's the drawback. But the greatest weakness that many Orc buildings have is, of course, the increased vulnerability while they're building up. So this expansion, completely undetected by Hunter so far, there's no Wisp, no scouting tools available, could save him this late game, because tech-wise, I think KiWiKaKi is miles ahead of the Night Elf.
True. That's totally the case, and they pick up two pretty cool tier 3 items here at the Ogre Lord. We have a Cloak of Flames for KiWiKaKi. Might be, it's really well suited to a Chemical Rage Alchemist, though he's been mostly heal spraying, so he may not have the perfect location that he would like to get use of that burning aura. 10 damage per second. It's really nice against archers, and it's okay against huntresses. But we have a Command Aura on the other side. War Song Battle Drums. 10% damage bonus on every single unit in the Night Elf's arsenal in an aura effect. And those are 1-0 upgraded tier 1 with 2-0 on the way.
Yeah, that is amazing because, as we said earlier, Hunter, you know, he's a little bit dependent on upgrades, which he currently does have only one from. One attack upgrade, the rest is basically still naked. So this attack damage boost, almost like a flute, will help him tremendously, you know, providing him with additional oomph in those teamfights. Speaking of upgrades, we also don't really see this typical Orc style that Pride showed us 14 days ago, for example, where he went heavy on the grunt upgrades, right? On the armor upgrades, going for 0-2, 0-3 sometimes.
The funny thing is, despite that, as you pointed out, that was 0-2 grunts. We have a head-hitter army here, but with 3 grunts still. He nonetheless went for the armor upgrade. Generally, headhunters as a ranged unit seem to synergize the best with attack upgrades, but we have here KiWiKaKi going with the defense. He's trying to run away here. Alchemist is getting surrounded. Could actually be a blessing for Kiwi. This is not the worst positioning. Many of those archers aren't here yet. And keep in mind, Kiwi has mostly been 50 food during this and the run up to this, so he's mining more. If he can buy more and more time, that buys him time. Yeah, he get nice focus fire on the Wisp. There might be another one. Coming, not yet.
Yeah, Wisps are so crucial. They could be so crucial right now because all the units were nicely clustered and clumped up here for the Orc player, but there weren't really a whole lot of Wisps available. He could have potentially dragged a couple of those from the Entangled Gold Mine. It was right in the Orc's corner, or back corner, you will. He tried to get one. That one was sniped immediately, so good reactions by KiWiKaKi.
You know what's so cool? KiWiKaKi has started a transition. Normally, you get to tier 3, what do you see? Third hero, more headhunters, just stubbornly produce the same army. Maybe Torrents, even though they're not that good, but maybe you want them to be good, so you go for them anyway, and that's wishful thinking. No, he switched back to mass grunts. He has seen the amount of archers there is on the side of Hunter. And although mass grunts will struggle to get near the archers, if he can get them near, they're amazing. Lightning Shield. We have 2 armor upgrades. We have Bloodlust this time, something that Pride didn't have a fortnight ago. So this is really cool. Level 4/4 heroes with double heal, 2 armor upgrades, and Bloodlust. And the headhunters, they're there just to take care of the huntresses. But it will be up to Hunter to get a good positioning. And so far it looks like he could have it. But he continues with the habit of never getting a town portal. Hunter is all in every single time. 3 heal scrolls, protection, great positioning, Wisp, 3-inch archers, but no TP. So if he gets flanked, this could be disastrous for him.
Yeah, he's almost as stubborn when it comes to teching, it seems. Still no Mountain Giants, no transition there, no additional units. It's still mass tier 1, and look at the armada of archers that he has assembled. These archers are now 2-0 as well in upgrades, and they're quite hard to take down for those headhunters. And I love the point that you made earlier, Grubby, the fact that KiWiKaKi is now adapting to that new situation that he finds himself in, right? More grunts and bloodlusted grunts, if they break through the Huntress's front line, they will demolish these archers. But positioning is key here. Don't give those archers a nice concave. Try to fight in an open space where you can surround them.
Yep, and well, 100% of the mana of Alchemist has been removed, Kendric. Now we go to see if that concave will work. The archers see a horde of speed-scrolled, bloodlusted grunts coming. Acid Bomb comes out. Protection Scroll comes out. Treants to buffer the damage. And the Shamans are actually in a pretty poor position right now. They're all in the front.
They're trying to get some lightning shields going here as well, but they are not really connecting as well as KiWiKaKi would like to, though. But these grunts, they're killing machines right now. They're shredding through those archers like they were made out of butter. And I think this position now for KiWiKaKi is pretty good as long as he has his heroes in the front line. Some of the archers, threatened by those grunts. Once again, the Bloodlust is uncontested. These headhunters and even the Troll Berserkers, they're dealing so much damage onto those hunters. They're all gone. Only squishy hunters now. Look at that Alchemist with that burning cloak of flames is absolutely destroying the backline.
Yeah, this was such a sick fight by HunteR, actually. He was definitely the... Logan. Sorry. He was definitely the underdog here in this situation. Because he had a full tier 1 army against tier 3. However, he did such good micro. He put his 2 heroes in front. Oh, okay, I have it. I've secured the squeaky. Sorry, he took it off my table.
Poor
HunteR
Logan.
actually placed both of his heroes in front of all the archers, and he got a lot of damage done that way with the archers against the grunts. But it just looked like the combined healing of heal scrolls, heal wave, and 1 healing spray was enough for KiWiKaKi to keep everything alive and threaten HunteR. HunteR even put all his own archers with lightning shield in the middle of the orc army so that he wouldn't hurt himself, and he used it against him. I feel like he did almost everything he could, and yet KiWiKaKi easily dominated that fight.
That is true. And I'm looking at the Night Elf base once again. There is no tech upgrade. I think at this point, it might even be too late. The resources, although HunteR has a second base available, are just simply not there. He's committed on this path of tier 1. He's deforesting a lot of the trees in the orc base, which ironically can sometimes actually work against him here, against the army composition and the fighting style that KiWiKaKi has. So he needs to be kind of careful and not to... not using too many trains, as crazy as that may sound sometimes, because it exposes the archers. And speaking of archers, man, they're so out of position yet again. The Wisps are desperately trying to connect against all that Bloodlust, but look at KiWiKaKi. He's waiting for the Bloodlust to be cast once those Wisps are over.
We have Heal Spray level 3 coming out, keeping these 1-2 grunts alive. There's snakes firing everywhere. Bloodlust is no longer available. The Shamans are out of mana, but we may have just too much raw orc power here with the snakes, with the level 5/5 heroes, the massively upgraded grunts. GG, well played. KiWiKaKi
Absolutely insane. That was so strongly played by KiWiKaKi from start to finish. It seems like no matter what he had prepared to face HunteR, it all worked like an absolute charm. In the beginning, the pressure with that Alki Rage, it was so cool to see. As you said, Grubby, similar task like the Blade Master, just a little bit more consistent. And despite, facing some rough uphill battles early on when HunteR was retaliating quite nicely, he had that game sense where he equalized the base score with that tiny Great Hall. Fantastic move there. And then just transitioned, used the tech to his advantage. And I think that is something that we haven't seen in all those 2 weeks of Fight Night Warcraft 3. A strong challenger showing the champion where it's at, basically, right from the get-go.
Yeah, and he did it his way, These days, Orc is playing so reactively against Night Elf. And although this is also a form of reactiveness, because he's using an early Alchemist to stop the Keeper from creeping, it is much less reactive than constantly trying to counter the first Expo attempt, the second Expo attempt, trying to defend the push, trying to counter the Mountain Giants or the Dryads or the Huntress, and playing standard Grand Raider Walker. He went for his own army, he made his own tech switches, the master of his own strategy. We predicted it, now it happened there, and thanks for showing us Kiwi. And now the question will be, will HunteR need to adapt? Because he never felt the need against Pride. Sometimes he won the early, sometimes he lost the early, and the game result was usually based on that. But he never was forced to play something intrinsically different than what he was doing. Does he make any other units than Ancient of War units if this
Yes.
won't end up working next game?
This is really, I think, what could break HunteR's back here. If he's not flexible enough, if he fails to adapt his own playstyle to what KiWiKaKi is throwing at him. Because already in this game alone, I think he should have realized and noticed that the standard way of playing Night Elf might not be enough to take down someone like KiWiKaKi, who has had so many opportunities and so many chances on ladder, watching replays, to find this crazy creative style of how to crack this standard Night Elf meta. And I think when someone has been doing nothing but finding unique strategies, someone like KiWiKaKi who has perfected this art, then it's basically him who has all the trump cards in his hands.
Yeah. And it's fun to see in this 17th year of Warcraft 3's age to see Alchemist.
Is it really 17 years?
17, yeah.
Oh.
It's cool to see Alchemist first strats by Orc in the most premier North American competition. Maybe there'll be European challengers coming in as well at some point if we get a player that just won't be able to lose. Like if HunteR wins this, and the next, maybe we'll need to bring in a European. But for now, we've got some really cool new strats coming out by Kiwi. Let's see if he's going to go for Barracks first or Altar first in this next upcoming match. No building. Okay, this is Headhunter opener.
Okay, could you elaborate more on that, Grubby? Why don't you build a building off the get-go?
Okay, so I know that if you don't make any building right away, and I think his burrow is going to be late. This is a little weird. There we go.
Yeah.
If you don't build a building right away, I thought it was going to be burrow, war mill, barracks, altar, which is one of the best early Headhunter builds. It's a little gimmicky, early Headhunter builds are, but I thought that was going to be the one that I knew. But instead, maybe he did this last game as well. It is again barracks opener, so it's going to be grunts and tavern hero. But the fact that he put all 5 peons in gold immediately instead of prioritizing an early barracks, it's just an economy play. It gains him 90 gold instead of when you do the early racks, but it delays your grunt by 9 seconds as well. So the question, I guess, that he answered to himself, this mad scientist, is, do I need the super early grunt? What am I going to do with that early grunt that is worth more than 90 to 100 gold? And he said nothing. So once he realized,
still no altar. Second burrow before the altar. Oh, sorry, it's already building.
Yeah,
there we go.
There
we go.
It was out of vision. It's like,
it was out of vision for me. Yeah. So that's still interesting, though. Is he going to go for the alchemist again, or are we going to see even more exotic plays?
I think it's going to be alchemist first. It's just he decided I don't need that grunt to be out early because you don't need it that fast for the tavern. It generally spends time waiting. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go on an epic wisp hunting spree, and you're not going to go to the Night Elf base to harass him. So I'm actually a little embarrassed because when I go Tavern Hero, I always do 4 gold and 1 in barracks.
Right.
Just like a robot. But then my early grunt comes out, and he doesn't do anything for 10 seconds. So, there is no reason to play it like that, and yet I did. So KiWiKaKi, very smart player, very free thinking, very critical thinker. And he comes up with the better build there. Alchemist comes out, but it should be noted this time, War Mill has been made, and 1 peon less has been produced than usual. Just now it was triple grunt. He's going to throw down the second barracks as well. So 1 less peon means more food available for headhunters, and double barracks tier 1 means mass headhunters on tier 1. This is going to be so surprising. And we look at HunteR's Wisp at the middle bottom of the map. He's not checking the main right now. The question is, will he, yes or no, in the next 20 seconds, 30 seconds? That will be crucial information for him.
And the thing is, I love this mind-reading attempt here from KiWiKaKi, where he's like, HunteR so far has always relied on the same strategy. Some archers first, potentially fast expansion, but definitely a lot of Huntresses out of 2 AOWs, right? So that is what
Correct.
he's been going for all the time. So blindly almost, he can rely on Hunter to do the same thing. He sees the Keeper as well, that confirms his suspicions, and immediately, without a lot of grunts, he's going to transition into the double Headhunter production, which with the piercing damage, of course, naturally counters the Huntresses. Now, is that going to work, or is HunteR now the one mind gaming, saying, well, I'm just going to build more archers now out of the Agent of Wars, or maybe go for a tech myself and build something else? The question is, though, even if he goes into Dryads, which oftentimes seems to be the weapon of choice at tier 2, Headhunters are pretty good against those too.
Yeah, right. I think you painted the perfect picture, Kendric, because it is exactly like that. What Kiwi is doing counters one archer into triple hunt tech with a delayed expo very well. Basically, what we have seen from HunteR 6 consecutive times is what Kiwi's strat would be countering very well. But we now have HunteR going for the archer tech, like you said, with the delayed Hunter Soul, which means yes, Dryad, Bear, or Mountain Giant. And so that's very different. He's gonna have Keeper level 3. With mass archers to face off against a strength hero first, who currently has 1 armor at level 2 because of his 11 agility. That's so trash right now. And low armor, high health.
Those Ring of Protection sometimes in the arc.
He'd love it. He'd love it. And what did he actually find? Whatever he found, he's
Sentry Wards.
He didn't pick up the item at the bottom of the map yet. There's still one item that he solo crept with grunts and 1 Headhunter. The question is, will he remember to use it? He's also shown his Headhunters now. He's still tier 1.
Yep.
And he's going to creep now without a peon, so he's not expanding. So this is like, let's get level 3 and then we're going all in. I think it's going to be tough for him to make that work because Keeper is boosted.
Yeah, and the Keeper, although, of course, we mentioned that a lot of the other units are countered by the Headhunter, still has those Treants available, which in decent numbers can actually clean up the squishy backline of Headhunters quite nicely too. Never underestimate the Keeper. A lot of people claim that they have found a good way to outplaying him to play against that hero that has been oppressive in the meta for so long, but he is still the number 1 Night Elf hero at the moment. And there go 3 Treants, level 2, of course, of that ability, going right for the Headhunters. One of them is even slowed still from the creeps. And how much damage now can these Headhunter dish out in return? We see 1 archer fall, 2nd perhaps as well. Level 3 now for KiWiKaKi's Alki.
Yeah, we have a lot of Headhunters dying here to Treants. Some good damage there for the Alchemist on the archers. Pretty good micro by HunteR, moving those archers away. In the meantime, we still have acid bombs available. The Entangle will take down the Grunt. And another acid bomb comes in on that cluster of Headhunters. Good healing spray, but that's it. No more mana for Kiwi. It's straight up a fight, brawn versus brawn now.
And, speaking of the Treants, they're quite lethal for sure, but so is Entangle on these low HP Headhunters. 1 Entangle at level 2. Level 4, of course, if the Keeper of the Grove reaches here, is oftentimes enough to take them out if there is no heal spray to counter the damage that ticks down over time. And I think slowly but surely, I think HunteR has really established the upper hand in this one. Another Headhunter falling here to the chemical bomb of the Alchemist. And I think HunteR right now, dude, he's in a really good spot. His expansion is building up, and he has successfully defended this first push to really threaten the Night Elf player.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, he was the pusher, right? But he stopped the push before it would even come out. And he's got 3 things going at the same time. He made his shop in order to continue the attack and the harass. Okay, that one didn't work out. Plan B, Tree of Life, finished. That is natural. And Plan C, Tier 3 has been started with the first lore coming out. I'm going to count his wisp count. We see about 5 wisps, 6 wisps right now. So he's a little light on lumber in order to actually go for an early Mountain Giant push. And that's the problem here. Expo, trying to get Mountain Giants, not having enough lumber, and still not having a shop, which is actually a prerequisite for Mountain Giant production, which will also cost another wisp. It means that HunteR is pretty much sitting on these 7 archers he has right now without much chance to develop much further beyond that at the moment. He plops down a second lore, which means we're going to see... we're momentarily lost game screen. We're hoping our producer can bring it back soon.
Now we enter the beginning of Warcraft 3 casting, where there was audio only on Winamp. Those were the golden days. To be honest, I quite enjoy these audio only casts sometimes. You know, when I'm driving in the car and there's an esports broadcast going on, whether it's Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2, I sometimes really, really enjoy just the listening. But of course, we're working on the solution because video is important in 2019. We all know and understand that. In the meantime, we can see a fight go down here in the Orc base. The Headhunters are quite wounded, actually, or getting quite wounded by the Night Elf heroes alone. And I wonder, where is KiWiKaKi's Alchemist? Video is back here, guys, for you. So,
Okay.
oh, actually,
Yeah, it's back.
I think it is. Nice.
I was going to show the screen on my webcam instead. It would be tiny. It would be tiny. But yeah, there was a big fight in Kiwi's base. He lost a few units. He chased down some archers. And he made the controversial decision to chase archers with alchemists instead of peeling for his headhunters, so to say, to speak in MOBA terms. KiWiKaKi's expansion is also getting gunned down by HunteR.
Yes.
Great job by HunteR.
There's no chance that the Orc expansion is going to survive that onslaught with the additional damage from the Treants. This one goes down. The tower made it, so that's a little bit of extra defensive potential there that KiWiKaKi can use, but one tower is not enough to drive away 2 Night Elf heroes and some Treants, so this won't be enough. I think the only way for KiWiKaKi to make sure that his expansion ever goes up, if he can put HunteR into the defensive, which right now is easier said than done, to be honest, because those Night Elf heroes close to level 4, the Keeper, relatively close to level 3, the Alchemist, that is, are getting scary and scary. And still no second hero, Grubby, for the Orc player.
Yeah, he actually favored to go for tier 3, Kendric, over a second hero, looking instead to mass upgrade the experience on his Alchemist, as we have a bit of an operation going on here. HunteR tries to squeeze past with an Alchemist, trying to get that double hero auto attack action off on the Great Hall.
Yeah.
HunteR is using his heroes not for creeping, only harass, keep him busy, keep KiWiKaKi busy. And that's pretty smart because Kiwi has the much greater creeping capacity. So if both are wasting time, then Kiwi is wasting more time because he has more implicit creeping capabilities. And HunteR is sitting on 2 base anyway, so that's again an advantage of both wasting time. And finally, he has gone for Master Bears. The upgrade is finished, 3 bears are on the field, 2 will join soon. And now we suddenly have Master Bears versus Headhunters. There's no Dispel for Kiwi, so it looks like HunteR has all the elements to have a very easy win.
And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 6 or 7 games now, HunteR is finally going for some later tier tech units. As you said, the Druids of the Claw here, the Bears are transmorphing as well. They're currently not diving after the Headhunters. They're actually focusing the main hero of KiWiKaKi. I'm not sure if that is the wisest way of using him. Finally, they're switching targets, going for the squishy trolls in the back line. Having, of course, the roar effect increases their damage quite a bit. Otherwise, there are no upgrades at all. No attack, no defense upgrades. And it's actually KiWiKaKi now on the defense who needs to use his TP scroll. That is, of course, fatal.
Oh. Did you see that? There was like
yeah.
subliminal pit lording.
Yeah. The Pit Lord has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen that from Orc players quite a bit, actually. I wouldn't say it's a standard strategy by any means, but several pro players have used that. With the cleave damage, of course, at level 1, against those squishy archers in the back lane, they can deal a lot of terrifying damage.
He's going to use Howl of Terror
There's the roar, though, yep.
Yeah, offset some of that roar. It actually debuffs more than what roar buffs, and it can only get better, so that's cool. But HunteR says, no more of these shenanigans. You're going to take out your Alchemist, and that's going to be a GG. We can see what KiWiKaKi was trying to do here. I think you said it perfectly, Kendric. He's countering his expectations, and HunteR did not play into those.
Exactly. The late Huntress Hall really made sure that enough archers were ready. He didn't give away too much information either as well. He was quite proactive on the map, so there wasn't really a good scout possible for KiWiKaKi. But let's face it, even with a decent scout, I think he was already too deep invested into this tech. I don't think you can really make a transition out of a double barracks anymore. So it is a mind game, it is a risk you take. And if it goes well, you look like a god. If it doesn't work, well, you're going to game 3 without a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, well, that was a nice setting up of the chessboard, so to speak. They both have a lot to think about now. We are at a 1-1 score in this best of 5. Thanks for all the cheers that came in during this game, supporting the players and the organization. We got a cool thing here where every bits that get cheered via Twitch chat, they get distributed a quarter to player 1, a quarter to player 2. 40% will go into the bounty, which will be to whoever stands on the King of the Hill, to explain it shortly. Some kind of champion that has completed many challenges. And 10% will go to production. So thank you guys for that. Kendric and I will be right back after this break. We'll be coming at you with game number 3. See you soon.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HeroesHearth Fight Night Round 3. Our champion HunteR playing Night Elf is defending his title against a very good and creative-looking KiWiKaKi playing the Orcs, surprising us all with already a very unorthodox playstyle, going for Mass Headhunters plus Alchemist in game number 2. Didn't really work out. Could have very well worked out if HunteR had been following his old pattern stubbornly, but he wouldn't be our 2-time champion if he couldn't adapt to these kinds of shenanigans and situations. So now we're finding ourselves in this cool and interesting situation where we can say Is KiWiKaKi going to play standard now? Can he even do that? Or is he trying something else to crack the defenses of HunteR? And as Grubby was alluding to earlier, we have this cool King of the Hill system going where you guys can contribute. You can increase the pot, the champions pot, the prize pool, and you've done so outstandingly well in the past already. I think the current pot is at 6,600 bits or something along those lines, probably a little bit more because some very supportive people gave their bits today as well. So thank you very much for supporting the relatively young format here on HeroesHearth and for supporting the Warcraft 3 pro players. Really good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Game 3 has been started, and it's going to be, once again, Barracks first for KiWiKaKi, following up with the Burrow. So more Grunt and Alchemist openers, most likely.
Yep.
I mean, we've got two options to choose from. The triple Grunt tier 2 tech with Shamans and Shadowhunter and Snakes. Or we could do more double Barracks Headhunter attacks. So the question is, in the last game, had he scouted, had he known that it would be Keeper and tier 2 tech with mass archers, would he have a timing to attack and win? That's what he has to answer himself. And if he thinks there was a timing, he'll try to hit it now. If he thinks there wasn't, and I personally think there was not, I don't think Mass Headhunter can win against triple Moonwell, Keeper level 2+, and archers, well, then he's just going to go back to grunts and teching, most likely.
Exactly. So we're probably going to see a very similar approach to Game 1, where the grunts were basically the backbone of the army and not the headhunters. The headhunters were added a little bit later, once he had confirmed that HunteR was indeed relying on double Huntress production. So the Altar of Storms is coming right now. We look into the Night Elf base and we see, of course, no surprises here. HunteR plays this very conservatively, very standard. The Keeper of the Grove to be deployed yet again. Sends out a Scouting Wisp there as well. And this is really crucial when you play against KiWiKaKi. I think more than against any other Orc player, you need to know what's going on exactly.
And the decision he made before he scouted that, Kendric, was to go for the second Moonwell instead of the Huntress Hall. So this is going to be, once again, Archer opening. It could still lead to Tier 1 expansion, tech, delayed Huntresses. But more than likely, it is going to be a mimicry of what he did in game number 2. Which is
I was actually watching the experience here, because sometimes when you last hit those creeps with the Ancient of War, you do not get the experience. It was very close. He was already getting the swing in, but didn't execute the attack. Oh, the Alchemist trying to get the last hit here, but I don't think he got it. It was so close. The attack animation a little bit delayed there.
The funny thing is, you can't actually see how much experience Alchemist has when Chemical Rage is active, because it takes the same place. Maybe that will be different in Reforged. Yeah, he didn't get it. And the cool thing is, HunteR actually had a choice to deny the Alchemist experience, but he would burn his own XP as well. If he had hit the level 4 troll with an Ancient of War, at least he would make sure, if I don't have it, you don't have it too. But he actually went for it all the way with the double treant and the archer hit, and it was just enough to kill the troll level 4. So he got everything, Kiwi got nothing, but it took some guts to decide to do it that way, and it was good micro and estimation by HunteR.
What I love here as well is the base layout, the SimCity of Raid HunteR, because I think this Moonwell was exactly placed so that one unit, preferably a Treant, could block the entrance to protect the Creeper, because all the Creeper, the
Creeper, yes,
I mean, he is a Creeper, right? That's basically what he's all about in the early game. But yeah, one Treant enough to block entrance to the Alchemist, and thus he stopped this mad chase of the Alchemist. So really well done here. Nice to see the effects of a nicely planned base layout sometimes come into effect.
Yeah, exactly. Like if the Alchemist follows him, he can either block out the Alchemist or let him in and then lock him up. Tech the tier 2 is on the way. We have Grunts solo creeping. Keep in mind that in Warcraft 3, if you kill creeps in absence of a hero, you still get experience, and it gets distributed equally among all heroes anywhere on the map. There's only one, so Alchemist gets everything. And he's doing that so that his Alchemist can do scouting and pressure, while at the same time getting experience. This does hurt the grunts, and KiWiKaKi is only now starting a shop, but there is a fountain where you can heal the grunts. Comes at some opportunity cost though, you need to leave them there for a while. And in the meantime, HunteR's making an Ancient of Wonders inside the base of KiWiKaKi, and he's got a pressure with that. With the Keeper level 3 normally, hopefully, but he still needs to do one more camp. And he summons a Lonely Treant. Oops.
Okay. Well, that is certainly very interesting. It's definitely a signal to send to the orc player, saying that if you don't take care of this Ancient of Wonder, I can use it as a forward base, so forward outpost to get potions from. He is tier 2 in a moment, so mana potions are going to be available, just like healing potions. And we don't see a single Huntress. As you said, Grubby, he's relying on that same strategy. Again, gets a free grunt with an Entangle and Archer Focus Fire. Very good to see that. And now he's going over to that Ancient of Wonders, has a little bit of gold in the bank there as well to purchase all these items. KiWiKaKi's Alchemist is kind of trying to intercept that, but without units, that is a futile attempt. But unlike last game, we have a couple of grunts now at the ready. No tier 2 tech buildings yet, though.
Pitlord second, no doubt HunteR again. I think the shop was actually never in vision yet. So
Maybe because of nighttime, right?
Yes, I think so. I was wondering about it, but yeah, maybe HunteR knew exactly what he was doing there, because Kiwi has zero response to it. We can't actually, in this observer overlay, show only one player's vision, so... in the meantime, we have 4 grunts with Berserker Strength upgrade, a Pitlord flanking, but he makes so much noise.
Here we go, when the flanker becomes the flanked one. Trying to get surrounded here by HunteR. Beautiful body blocking, though, by his own hero comrade, the Alchemist, making sure that this does not work. And you got to be careful when you try to surround something with archers, because they're so squishy and could easily die to get an opening done. Now, we've seen this Pitlord before. We were alluding to it a little bit, but that cleave now against the squishy archer-only army of HunteR can really do a lot of work at level 2, of course. He went for the Howl once again to lower the damage output. Now, building upgrade for the burrows, so important. Otherwise, these burrows would have been focus fired so quickly by all those archers.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very timely upgrade finish, but in the meantime, 2 grunts have gone down. 1 archer, if he's lucky, I think it was none. There is not enough mana for another Entangle yet, and we have a chase on the archers, but he's got no real critical way to chase down the archers and kill them. So that's a 2-for-0 trade here for HunteR. Great job.
Even using full HP archer to body block a little bit, so he makes absolutely sure that no victims are going to be suffered from here. Now tries to go for another hero surround, and I think this one was a little bit overconfident, and overconfidence can be a slow and insidious killer sometimes when, you know, you basically don't pay attention. But all of a sudden, the blue Alchemist, HunteR's Alchemist, is the one taking so much damage. I can't believe how aggressively HunteR is playing this, actually, when he's surrounded by so many units.
Yeah, he's got Claws of Attack, Slippers. He's not going to kill that Pitlord. Chemical Rage comes out. He just has enough mana. KiWiKaKi is chasing the other Alchemist. It has 95 life. So he needs 3 hits to take him down. In goes 1 hit. One lucky damage could be it. Oh, no! Great blocks by HunteR.
He's trying so hard to pass through, to get through. Even the archer takes more hits than anticipated. So this was lucky, a lucky escape here once again by HunteR. And as you said, Grubby, a little bit of a higher damage roll there on that Alchemist, and maybe he gets that takedown.
It's funny though, because the first hit. Okay, Alchemist has a damage range right now of 34 to 61, and Alchemist had 95 life. So he needed 2 rolls of 55 plus to kill him. There's not a lot of armor, so 55 would be enough. Maybe 53 would be enough. His first one was like 57 or 58, but his next was like 35. So actually, the first one did like 55 damage, and the next like 30 or 35. It's really not enough to kill him. And then the great block by HunteR, and the Pitlord was killed by the Keeper as well.
Mm-hmm. But this is a 1-base versus 1-base game right now, Grubby, right? So we don't have any player with an economical advantage. So every unit counts. Every hero counts, of course, as well. The Clarity Potion effect here gets cancelled. And look at that KiWiKaKi Alchemist frenzying down and rushing down HunteR's Keeper, who didn't buy movement speed boots, by the way. Sometimes, you know, players like to do that to keep their precious low HP heroes a little bit more safe, but we haven't seen a single purchase of Boots of Speed at all in this series so far.
Yeah, it's really fallen out of favor the last 4 years or so. We see it occasionally with a really clear purpose, but overall, the decade of pro play or so that happened before, there was a lot of Boots usage, but it has really been replaced more by extra tier 1 units.
Right.
More archers, more grunts than before, and less Boots, and that does mean that you can't do quite as many cool tricks, ins and outs with your heroes. but you could use those extra units and entangle to get some kills. That's what people choose for. Now coming in with a bear adept training, how far is masters? It's about 70-80% of the way done.
Yeah. And already the rejuvenation is going to be such an important spell against KiWiKaKi, whose playstyle right now, has focused a lot around focusing the Night Elf heroes all the time to drive them back, to maybe take that advantage of that squishy intelligence hero, which the Keeper of the Grove is. But this is now a very... Master Upgrade is done. And we see the first transformed bear. This is so huge. So much damage available right now. The tech units, the roar, so huge on all those archers in the backline as well. Plus 4 damage. And that shop is gone. No more healing. No more mana for the Orc player.
Yeah, no, that's true. And Alchemist is level 2. Pitlord is level 2. Bloodlust is very far away. Very far away from finishing. And he's just got a bunch of grunts. Purge might want to happen on Treants and Entangle, but if that's happening, then that means that every bear that comes in gets a free rejuvenate, because the shamans do not have limitless mana. And he's not going to stop attacking either, HunteR. He's got 3 Treants, 3 bears, more coming in, and 6 archers with Roar upgrade. He just killed the shop. He's going to go on to the burrow, maybe even the lodge. And he could stop Bloodlust from ever happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looks like HunteR is in some lag problems here.
So we can't save, but maybe our observer, if he's in referee mode, maybe he can save. I don't know if we hosted with referee.
I don't think we did. Which could be a problem.
Yeah, I think everyone is ref or no one is ref in how it works in Warcraft. So since we're not, neither is the ops. Too bad.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Well, he fears he might drop. No, he's still here. He's
still here. Okay.
He wanted to make sure that if he did.
Okay, gotcha.
Very, very prudent, but it didn't happen, so we're gonna play.
We're saved. But also I wanted to highlight, Grubby, real quick, the base layout that we praised on HunteR's side of KiWiKaKi, though. Because I think his buildings are exceptionally vulnerable because they're all centered on the left-hand side of the base. So if HunteR wanted to, I think he could actually take down the barracks, could take down the Spirit Lodge perhaps, but he's actually going for an all-out attack into the units and the burrows.
Weird thing is, he's still attacking the burrow. It's fortified. It means it's not taking a lot of damage. He could have gotten so many free hits in on the grunts. I love his positioning. He keeps doing this so well every time with his heroes and his bears. Mm-hmm. But his archers...
Perfect line.
Still on the burrow, and they're being repaired more and more. Cleave is actually killing an archer across the wall, which is pretty funny. Can he get a bear as well? He gets 1 bear.
Grubby, that was an MVP burrow repair by KiWiKaKi, and it is almost outraging to see how much focus, how stubbornly HunteR really attacked that burrow. And he should have realized, as you said, there's the red grunt, for example. There are a couple of orange and yellow grunts. He could have actually taken down the entire Orc front line with all those archers if he hadn't focused the building all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a huge difference. Fortified takes like a quarter damage from piercing. Grunts take 100%. So that's already 4 times as much damage per archer on grunts. Plus, grunts have only 3 armor, burrows have 5. So he could have done 4.5 times as much damage on grunts as what he did on that burrow. And if it hadn't been repaired, he would have killed that burrow twice over. So that would be at least 3-4 grunts dead had he focus fired them. It's hard to believe because we see them all being healthy, but that's really how much damage they could have done. With Acid Bomb even.
And this could very well be, the stabilizing factor for KiWiKaKi, honestly. This now gives him a lot of time to get some creeping done, to level up his heroes a little bit more, perhaps work on the map a little bit as well. I think, honestly, if HunteR would have not done that, he could have sealed the deal right there. As it is, though, he gives the Orc player a little bit of a comeback potential, and he's now trying to come back here. All of his units are, or most of his units are still pretty hurt, though. Let's see if there's some Moon Juice left. Yeah, there's actually full Moon Juice in his base, so he also didn't really mind healing all of those archers.
Yeah, this is like not a serious attack or something by HunteR, because he saved for 1,000 gold on 50 food. He then took an expansion, and he belatedly started producing, and he didn't heal everything, like you said. So this is not like a kill move, which generally bear players do want to try and do, kill moves. He's instead giving more time, getting some really cool creeps here with what item did he get?
Oh, the battle drums once again, huge.
Huge. We have a tiny great hole now by Kiwi, so it's the very weakest he could be at this time against practically the strongest that HunteR can be at this time. 60 food ready, and he's going in.
And you said this was not a killing attack, right? But now, of course, that item that he found, the command aura, the Warsling battle drums, that is changing everything, because now you look at those roared archers in the back and they deal +6 damage. Look at the bears, +11. That is an absurd amount of extra DPS that he now has at his disposal. The trees, of course, in the mix now as well. We see a scroll of protection. The archers are a little bit close to the trends. He could have actually microed those out a little bit more. But now we have Bloodlust, Grubby, and the Orc forces are holding their own. There's no Dispel. I think there was only one Dryad available for HunteR. And now the Orcs, with that attack speed, with their own DPS steroid, they're striking back. Bears are already brought low here. No Reju, only the Reju on the bottom left-hand side. And look at that big Pit Lord, uncontested, about to hit level 3. He needs one more kill, and the bear, I think, is going to fall and give him that level 3. Hit it!
And there's no Staff of Preservation, there's no invulnerability. The Alchemist goes down. The Pit Lord is actually doing wonders. He took a long time to cast Howl of Terror, but he's doing a lot of damage, and the heal spray kept everything alive. Two bears, very low. One goes down, second one gets burst, goes down as well.
That is crazy! The Bloodlust Cleave is literally cleaving through the army of the Night Elf player. We have a couple of hurt grunts. They're being sent back right now. We still have the Alchemist also of KiWiKaKi looking mighty strong. But here are reinforcements coming in from HunteR. We have more Dryads with Dispel. They can finally get rid of that pesky Bloodlust that has been causing so much damage. But all the bears are gone. Only one survivor left. And that was, I think, as good of a hold as KiWiKaKi in this current situation could have hoped for, because guess what, Grubby? The expansion is now mining and running.
Yep, with only 3 peons, admittedly, so it's not with the full value of. He's been so busy defending that this peon is idle. Another peon is coming home, but it is with a tower and a burrow, so it's not trivial to harass the peons there. He really needs to commit to it a bit, and HunteR says, you know what, without the Alchemist, no, I'm not going to do it. His own expansion is not mining yet. So, first part of the fight, so good for Kiwi. Then got a little worse, started losing units, and I actually thought, that might be a loss for him. But his base has been mining for much more than HunteR's. He's actually mined 800 gold more from it than his adversary. So HunteR didn't have a base as quickly and wasn't able to crack Kiwi there. And they have equal food.
Did HunteR forget to build Wisps at the expansion?
He just made 2. They just finished. He's only at 180 lumber. He's got 3 in his main. So he can't exactly move all his wisps to his expansion. He's actually got 2 more wisps on the map. So we're looking at 5 total lumber wisps with a fairly low lumber count. So he does have to make more archers at his expansion. And wisps. He's not currently doing that. So matters get worse for him.
I think his expansion had been up longer than the Orc expansion, or at least very similarly, so...
The gold mine actually just finished post-fight.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so he didn't forget about it for a long time.
No, that's, not too bad. He's forgetting about it now when it's not busy.
So here we go. We have the infamous Fountain of Healths on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. The left one has been crept now by the Orc. And what was the item? The Flute of Accuracy. It's met with the current army composition, which relies mostly on grunts. It's nice to have, perhaps, for the shamans, but those are no real damage dealers, so I think that could actually be worth selling.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically doing 6 bonus damage, 1 per shaman. That's worse than a Claws of Attack.
Yeah.
And it's a much higher grade item that will sell for more. I mean, the Claws on Pitlord would be much better than the True Shot.
That's absolutely true. You want to boost that bad boy's attack value as far as you can, basically. So many Dryads now in the mix, though, trying their hardest to dispel all of the Bloodlust, but with the Fountain in the back and all these beefy Orc units, profiting and benefiting off the healing value so hard, I'm not sure if that is a good fight for HunteR to take, but never mind, he's deciding to hold his ground. Another bear about to bite the dust here, and the heroes of KiWiKaKi, especially that big beefy Pit Lord, is just an absolute menace. Good thing about Dryads, though, they're not affected by the Howl.
Are affected by Cleave, though, but what you said is true. Demolisher comes in. KiWiKaKi decided to start mixing in demos. We see the Purge action coming in on Alchemist. Can he get the on the Keeper? Can he get this around? Purge still works, even if a hero is invulnerability. He doesn't go for the Mass Purge. Doesn't have enough mana. There is no protection on the Pit Lord. There is TP on Alchemist. He has to hand it over to Pit Lord. If Pit Lord gets threatened, can he do it on time? No! He gives the TP, but he doesn't actually end up using it on time.
Can he go with a return kill, equalize the score? The Keeper goes down as well, but now KiWiKaKi's Alki is so low, he has nothing to protect him anymore. And it is an absolute bloodbath. The heroes are gone for KiWiKaKi, but guess what? In the meantime, so much damage was dealt onto these poor Dryads as well. Buys back the Pit Lord, has a couple of purges available. I think, although actually these shamans are fairly dry on mana, so that was a good job.
It's so funny. He gives the TP to Pit Lord, it dies before you can use it. Same thing for HunteR. He gives TP to Keeper, it dies. The Alchemist dies. He revives the Pit Lord. The Alchemist will staff out. What a bloodbath, like you said. Now we see Mountain Giants coming in as well. They will do really good at tanking damage. But against Mass Grunts, they're actually not that amazing. They will take some damage, and they don't easily kill in return. But he figured Bears just aren't doing it anymore against Cleave.
Exactly. You need something beefier, and if you want beefy units, you got the beefiest in your arsenal if you're a Night Elf player. Mountain Giants are really good at that. But let's take a look at some of the grunts here that KiWiKaKi has. They're 1-1 upgraded, so they have even more hard-hitting power now against these Mountain Giants. And Mountain Giants are great against the Pit Lord, as you said, Grubby, because you normally don't have a mass number of them. So not several of them will get affected by the Cleave too much. Whereas with Bears, where you normally have like 5 to 6 Bears in your front line, those would all get punished really hard by this Pit Lord. And lucky for HunteR, actually, that this Pit Lord does not have a lot of attack enhancements in terms of inventories, right?
Yeah, true. That's true, Kendric. And part of what comes into play there is the map. Concealed Hill simply doesn't have a lot of those items. Claws plus 12 in the middle, maybe. He could get a gauntlet of, a belt of giant strength plus 6 from the Red Drake, but he got True Shot. Yeah. And then there's like 2 claws on the map. One belongs to you, one to the opponent, and that's it. Everything else doesn't buff your damage that much, or at all. So you never get a developed Pit Lord on this battleground, and he still went for it regardless. So the Pit Lord mostly has to settle for baseline damage with Bloodlust, which is still pretty darn good.
And we saw now the the right-hand side fountain being crept by HunteR. He found the Rune Bracers, which in this matchup is almost worthless. Definitely an item, I think, to be sold. There's no nuke damage. You're not playing against an undead with Koanova. So, yeah. Items-wise, I think both players weren't the luckiest.
Yeah, exactly. The War Drums was nice.
Those were good.
And I guess the Greater Mana Pot, dependent of energy on Keeper. But the Rune Bracers, definitely unlucky. In fact, it does nothing here. It says it reduces magic damage, but it only reduces magic spell damage from Lightning Shield, Acid Bomb, or Rain of Fire. Those are currently the options if KiWiKaKi reskills. So basically nothing. It doesn't work on Shaman auto attack damage even, though it's magic, because that's how it's coded. And we now have a fight coming up here. Potentially we have something 75 food by Kiwi. 1 or 2 demos. For the rest, HunteR, Grunt, and Shamans. Those Grunts are fairly well upgraded.
Yep.
We have 1-1 upgrades.
And look at the Mass Purge coming in against 5 Treants, just getting dispelled like that. Beautifully done by KiWiKaKi. Needs to be careful, though, that he doesn't blow the mana too much because he needs the Bloodlust. And Bloodlust you shall get, ladies and gentlemen, because that Orc army has a massive concave right now. The Dryads, they can only fire onto those Grunts, and the backline of the Orc players completely uncontested. But here come the Wisp. A little bit of Mass Dispel against all the Bloodlust is doing wonders here. The Shamans, they're all out of mana. They're all dry, Grubby.
Yep, no more mana, no more Bloodlust on the backline, just maybe 2 Grunts or so left. Thankfully for KiWiKaKi, the heroes have been unaffected by Wisp almost entirely. That means Pit Lord can still continue to cast level 3 Howl of Terror, because he didn't pick Cleave at level 5. And the first Mountain Giant is almost going down. Will HunteR press Staff of Preservation on time on that Mountain Giant? He's got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 second left. No, never mind. It's heal spray. It's still fine.
Heal spray was huge. And all of a sudden, with that army composition of KiWiKaKi, the flute of accuracy comes into play. You know, so many headhunters, the Orc army is rending through Hunter's forces, and that is the 2-1 in favor of the Challenger. KiWiKaKi, with a little bit of a struggle early game, came back phenomenally, and for the first time in this series, guys, he makes the Pit Lord a reality, and he makes it work, and that was quite beautiful to behold. This Bloodlust strategy is something I haven't seen very often, and I think it's so beautiful to see it work. Where even when, as Grubby said, you know, the map doesn't favor a lot of claws of attack, a lot of other attack enhancements, with the Bloodlust and the sheer number of attacks, the number of cleaves, you make up for that.
Yeah, that's true. Without Bloodlust, wouldn't have been as good. Actually, very surprised he didn't go for Cleave level 3. With how good it is, it makes 95% of your auto attack damage cleave instead of like only 65%. So that was a pretty big omission, but it did mean Howl of Terror level 3, together with Heal Spray level 3, I believe. It means his army wasn't dying. And although the 4 Mountain Giants didn't die, they came close, but they didn't die, all the Dryads and other units did. Good focus fire by Kiwi. He still had 70 plus army at the end of that fight. And HunteR actually tapped out. He realized he doesn't have the damage. Looking back, maybe he wants Mountain Giant and Chimera against that, but I don't know that he had the money for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very expensive transition to make, and it could have worked, but I think the fact that he committed to the end fight, if you will, at that location was crucial, because the concave for all those headhunters, the uncontested battle control and location control was so huge. You know, there was no way for the Mountain Giants to ever get into the backline, to taunt some of the headhunters, to taunt some of those shamans. I think that range damage with the Bloodlust especially was so huge.
It was a good wisp flank by HunteR.
That one was really good, yes.
But it looks like there was enough numbers on the side of Kiwi already, and hero levels. One moment has to come back, though. We have to be a little critical here. Focus firing a burrow for 30 seconds while doing a tech advantage push. I mean, it's go ahead.
Imagine if he had never had those grunts, you know, if he hadn't had all these frontliners, he couldn't have built that many headhunters. He would have had to rely on the units and reproduce all those grunts. I think that was the critical moment. You're perfectly right about that.
Yeah, that would have given some experience boost as well, less creeping power. It just changes a lot of things. He just showed up with Master Bears, and Bloodlust wasn't ready. It was HunteR's time to win. It's like he showed up with UFOs and he met a barbarian village, and instead of like reigning supreme and taking the planet for themselves, they taught them how to fish. And then they left and they came back in 100 years. Like, noob mistake, aliens.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. All right. But I think the people out there, the viewers, as well as ourselves, we're having such a blast, you know, to present these games to you. And we can't stress enough how cool and exotic a player like KiWiKaKi is. Really shows that even on the highest, you know, level of play, you can still get away with creative tactics as long as they're well thought of, and as long as you know how to use them and when to use them. And I think this might be some food for thought, perhaps, for you guys out there, for all the Orc players that are playing on ladder. If you play Nidos, which I think you're going to play a lot of at the moment, this could be something perhaps to surprise them.
I'm gonna try it tomorrow. I'm always inspired. Inspired by Kiwi's strats. HunteR's been doing pretty well as well, though. A lot of cool moves. I think his positioning is one of his strongest suits. Just a small little mistake there. I don't know exactly what he was thinking with the burrow. He had plenty of time to think about it, but his positioning has been good. Always putting heroes in front, hold position rather than attack move. Deciding positioning is more important than optimizing attack damage. His archers end up being safe. Very key. If you're a Night Elf player, look at the way that he orchestrates most fights.
Big shout outs, by the way, to all these amazing people in chat right now that are enhancing and amplifying the pot size. We have people like Amausin, Delorock, Alicia Wins, adding a couple of bits to the prize pool. And if you guys want to support these players, HeroesHearth, Fight Night, the casters, the production crew, everybody basically, then feel free to follow their example. Every bit Twitch bid that will be donated during this broadcast goes right into the player prize pool. Production crew is getting compensated a little bit as well, but the main lion's share goes over to HunteR or potentially KiWiKaKi, because he's leading right now 2-1. And our next map, ladies and gentlemen, will be Echo Isles. And I don't think this is a map where you can't go or get away with these shenanigans. So it's a very small map. I think the Alki rush that we saw earlier is very effective there because of a short distance between the two bases. What do you think, Grubby?
Yeah, I like it, Kendric. Might as well do it again. If Keeper goes for the 3-3-3 level creeps at the top, Keeper will be 1.7, which means so long as Kiwi does not lose a grunt to a vanilla surround, that is to say a surround without entangle, Keeper will have a tough time getting a level up. We sometimes see HunteR playing the following thing here. Creeps to 3-3-3, walks to the Orc base, and cancels a second burrow with Treants. The second burrow actually gets made really early by KiWiKaKi. He makes it right away. So there's nothing to cancel. Normally, in that time, HunteR will be creeping the 1-3-1 with the remaining 2 Treants and an Archer. Alchemist Rush isn't going to let any of that happen. And double burrow means he's safe at home. So I don't know what opening we are going to see from HunteR based on the previous games. If he tries to squeeze out the 1-3-1 creeps, just staying at home passively creeping, that would probably be best for him to get the early entangle. But if Alchemist steals any of those creeps or clicks the Keeper, that could be tough. We could even see something like... Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of other Night Elf heroes here that we could potentially see to counter the Alchemist. I'm thinking about a Warden, perhaps, a Demon Hunter, but these normally aren't really seen as much anymore because simply of how good the Keeper is throughout all stages of the game. But perhaps a Warden with a Shadow Strike to keep the Alki at bay, Demon Hunter with Mana Burn, it's probably not very efficient because the Alki doesn't need the mana anyways. So it's hard for KiWiKaKi for HunteR to really find a well-equipped Night Elf solution to this problem.
Well, set alone the fact that he's only been playing Keeper for the last 9 months.
True.
He's probably not going to be experienced with those. Warden, actually, because she's spell damage based, is worse against Strength Hero and better against Intelligence and okay against Agility. But it's the best against Intelligence. Low health pool, low armor class, so she can actually get kills. Alchemist has a low armor class, which means he's weak against auto attacks, but he's very strong against nukes. So Warden will be tough against Alchemist. Same thing with Demon. You said it already. Mana Burn against Chemical Rage does not matter at all. Chemical Rage is only 25 mana. Even if you drop to 0, you'll have 25 mana in half a minute. It's really quick.
All right.
What else could he do? He could go for Tavern Hero himself. I don't really like it. You lack the lockdown. Honestly, I think he's got the best thing going already with Keeper. It's just about how he chooses his fights. He needs to adapt his tactics, maybe, not his strategy.
All right. And perhaps, if I'm not sure if he did it in the last games already, but I'm pretty sure he went Treants first for easier creeping. Perhaps if he goes Entangle first to keep the Alki at bay, get some free auto attacks and some free Archer shots, that might be a good way of controlling this pressure early.
Yeah, that would be very good against grunts. You'll be level 1.7 with Entangle, but you might just run dry on bad traits and then needing to use Moonwell without those Treants. You lack the DPS and tankiness, and it's tough. Like, you really want Entangle, but I feel like from all the strats we've seen, with Entangle first, which is what people used to do 9 months ago when Keeper rose to popularity after some buffs, Treants seems to be the more powerful opening. It just gives you a lot of extra creeping power and fighting power.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 4 between HunteR and KiWiKaKi. KiWiKaKi, the new challenger. The Orcs about to get some revenge for what happened 2 weeks ago when Pride fell in a very close game. And HunteR, for the first time, I would say, in his career, while he's playing in the HeroesHearth Fight Night, is kind of under pressure because I think last game was very, very one-sided at the end. If he only hadn't made this one crucial mistake with focusing the burrow too much and not killing all the Orc units when he actually had the chance to, that really cost him dearly. Now, let's double check again on the base layout. KiWiKaKi, never change a winning team. It seems to be the motto. He goes for the barracks first, and he's definitely going to go for the Alchemist once more, Grubby.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if it's going to be that Headhunter opening again. Mass Headhunter. from game 2. It did lose, but this is a better map for it. It's shorter distance. It's hard to get to the other side on Northern Isles. It might be possible, but I think we will see Archer opening again. HunteR is very methodical. He tries to use tactics to win, like good micro and positioning and timings, rather than like Moon style, where you try something wildly different for no reason other than to confuse your opponent. And that it's fun. So we see that second Moonwell. It means no Huntresses. Tech with Archers. I'd be so surprised if he's like tier 1 expansion. Even though it's a good build, he's not going to try that now.
All right, but already we can see, you know, the fruit of KiWiKaKi's labor as it comes into this series. We have definitely stopped, as you said, the early expansions. And HunteR, with the most common of Night Elf styles not being available anymore, has to go for something else. He has to rely on his units a lot more because he doesn't have the overwhelming economical force. Oh, I think that was the last hit of the Ancient of War, wasn't it? Let's see.
Was it? I didn't. Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh,
the funny thing... Yeah, you're right. It's true. And the funny thing is, he was doing exactly, I guess, what I predicted, where he tries to rush that 1-3-1 before finishing the Ancient of War camp, so that he can play passively, get level 2 Keeper, and get the 1-3-1 before the Alchemist arrives. Not only was the timing wrong, and his Alchemist there anyway, before he can take that camp, but he also ended up in multitasking, denying himself a creep. And being even lower level than what he would have liked. He's 1.4 instead of 1.7, or his attempted 1.9. He will get that creep, and he would have been 1.99 now had it not been for the deny. Instead, he's right where he would want to be, normally from 1 camp, 1.7. And if he kills those 2 level 1s, he will still not be level 2. So without a grunt kill, no entangle will be here. That means that full micro capacity is on the side of KiWiKaKi. He can get out anytime he would like.
It's almost, Grubby, it's almost a vicious circle, because in order to kill grunts, you need level 2 with the entangle, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see if he's ever going to get there. The Moonwells, of course, are up now, so the Keeper will actually get body blocked here by the grunt, it seems. Can't, of course, fully squeeze them out, but that was some sick additional damage. And the Night Elf Keeper, now with so little health and so little mana, is going to actually drink all those Moonwells empty, without even making it to full mana again. So he actually used it on the archers, who are also bruised a little bit. This is a really, really strong opening from KiWiKaKi.
He's not creeping, right? But like you said, he's very happy with this. The Moonwells are empty. There's 1 more coming. There's treants on the field. They'll be there for another 40 plus seconds or so. But this camp does not even represent a level up for Keeper yet.
Oh,
Where does he go next? Alchemist is looking, he's watching, he's laughing. And then he will have 1 more treant upgrade at the most, if he would like. I mean, 1 more summon after he drinks from all the Moonwells.
Yeah.
So this is a very tough spot for HunteR.
This is very, very tough indeed. And now KiWiKaKi notices how much time he has bought with his early distraction, with his early harass, and he's going for the shop control for the Goblin Merchant camp immediately, you know, creeping those trolls and the ogre, getting himself his first experience as well. Bought a little bit of Dust of Appearance, which is very, very good during nighttime to hit all those vulnerable, squishy archers. But HunteR seems to know what his opponent is up to, and now all of a sudden the Alchemist is very, very low in health, does have a TP available just in case, tries to go for the item, and it's a Sentry Ward. So that is now so much vision control, so much detection available.
I'm not sure why he's running. I guess he just fears standard damage coming out on grunge, getting a kill, and then having a level 2 Keeper come out. Yeah, I guess there really wasn't much in the way of chasing and killing archers. Right. He wanted to make sure he doesn't feed any grunts away. Things have been going so well. So he boards, he gets some... He didn't
so
get
many
healing
coming?
Oh yeah, this is an Ancient of War push. With
yeah.
Shop, Mass AOW, Keeper. And I'm surprised he's not making the shop yet. It's so useful to have healing potions.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's brace ourselves for... Yep, there we go. See the Night Elf coming. He got an archer.
Oh, that's because he pulled the creeps to get double mercs to empower this push. We have 2 mercs coming in from below. Does Kiwi see it? He loses a burrow. Shadowhunter's coming out. There we go with the Ancient of War.
We see the Shadow Hunter now entering the fray as well, and it's about time here that he joins his forces, because the first Ancient of War is currently building the additional Wisp here, providing a little bit of body blocking, a little bit of pseudo frontlining for those archers in the back. Mercenaries, 2 Shadow Priests are in the mix, 2 Berserkers as well. These grunts are going to take a lot of damage, but the healing wave, so important right now to keep those hurt Orc units alive, because they deal bonus damage to basically everything, almost everything that the Night Elf has deployed, most importantly against the archers. 1 archer's falling, 2 archers, more trees are being summoned, a Moonwell and an Ancient of Wonders.
That's the first grunt going down. There goes the second. Third and fourth might be soon to follow. Keeper finally gets level 2. There goes the third grunt. But still, with Peons and grunts, some pretty nice damage on that backline for HunteR. Alchemist, though, has been on a large marathon away. We have a crucial mistake by Kiwi that after he ported, he prioritized quick creeping of a small insignificant camp over first picking up heal salves. And because of that, and because of the position of his shop, it was never near enough to be a factor in this defense. Now the Entangler comes out, HunteR gets the kill. Great job on Shadow Hunter.
And this is the level 2 on the Alchemist as well. This is a crucial attack right now for HunteR. The first Ancient of War is now in the mix as well. And if you want a beefy front line, those trees are exactly what you require and what you need now. Does he have time to wait for the Shadow Hunter to reappear? Now, fortified structures, Grubby, that could be the saving grace once again. Because all of a sudden, despite having those Troll Berserkers available, despite having those archers, those buildings are so beefy. They're so hard to take down. And he roots the Ancient of War potentially to build some more units. Yes, archers are being made and produced right now.
That's funny. Oh, the burrow actually killed a priest and going for the second priest. Shadow Hunter comes out. Compromised position. Beautiful surround by HunteR.
Wow.
And he will close the surround. Ah, loses another priest.
Way.
To the burrow. That's a great job, though. Heal wave will delay the Shadow Hunter's death.
Gets him again, though. And the Shadow Hunter falls yet again. That was a short visit, my friend. He goes back into the Shadow Realm. Needs to wait a little bit longer. Now, 2 Ancient of Wars, Grubby. They're all producing archers. Can the pressure be enough here? I think the more grunts enter the fray, the more difficult it is going to be for HunteR to maintain that pressure. And I think he actually broke it. I think with those shamans in Tau as well, he might actually have enough to destroy them once and for all. The cleanse is great, coming in for additional movement speed slow. Now needs to save them. The peons, additional frontliner. I think KiWiKaKi did it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Peons do good damage on archers. He killed those triple trolls for the cost of losing his shadow. Burrows, courtesy as well. 1 berserker and 2 priests. And Keeper's out of mana. There is no shop available. There are no clarities. And he's just trying to kill a single shaman, which gets heal waved. KiWiKaKi is in an excellent position. Will he go Hex or Snakes? I don't know. Will anyone pick up that blasted Tome of Strength? I don't know.
Everybody's fighting for survival here, especially KiWiKaKi. Now he has HunteR's Alchemist in the line, body blocked by his own Moonwell that he had so carefully placed down earlier. And now, of course, with nighttime not available, there is no healing. But healing is available from the Ancient of Wonders. He bought a healing potion there, used this to buy more time. He kills the Shadow Hunter for the 3rd time. A clean hat-trick, if you will, but loses his own hero now. More trains being summoned. This fight is going on forever right now. The Ancient of Wars, they're not really fighting. Maybe an uproot could be nice here to support the units, which are so hurt, but so many mini trees, so many mini trains are now basically getting the job done.
Yeah, the shop uproot to reduce its collision size to free himself from the surround was good. 2 Ancient of Wars are strong, but they're stationary or more vulnerable. He keeps them rooted. And there's just so many grunts. What a stupid army. I'm sorry, but it's a stupid army. Mass grunts. They're not very delicate or agile, but it's enough. There are so many of them. They're chasing. They're not going to catch you, but you know you're not going to be able to take them down. And HunteR actually taps out. Great hold by Kiwi.
Absolutely amazingly done by him. Despite losing the Shadow Hunter so many times, I think ultimately the noble sacrifice of the Shadow Hunter was what won him the game. And once again, those burrows, those fortified monster burrows, they drew so much attention from HunteR on them to themselves. They were firing like rapid cannons with 4 peons inside. I think once again, Grubby, twice in a row now, we had those burrows winning the game. Or
it makes
at
sense.
least being huge factors, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. Twice in a row. It was 1-1, and then Burrows basically won the next 2 games. Getting that upgrade out so early was key. because he analyzed the HunteR Pride series that HunteR won 3-2, and every time it was triple Huntress pressure. And Pride prioritized armor upgrade and more units and shamans. And we see Kiwi saying, hey, how about I start from a point of complete comfort where I can't lose my burrows easily, where I will deal damage well to Troll Priest and Huntress specifically, and secondarily Archers and Berserkers a little bit as well. And let's just start from there. I go these high value heroes like Shadow, Alchemist, and Pitlord. They're essentially higher value than Blade Master. Like they do a more global effect to a fight.
Right.
If I can get to the late game, they're going to be monsters. And how does he try to get there? Delaying the Keeper from creeping up. Using the Alchemist's early weak moment and using the best parts of him. Instead of going Acid Bomb or Heal Spray and saying, I'll creep, you creep. He's like, no, you really want to creep, and I'm not going to let you. It was smart, and it earned him a 3-1 victory. And he steals the bounty that HunteR has been saving up. You said 6,600 bits. That's
exactly.
What?
A little bit more. So I think it's 7,000 something right now with the additional bits that we got today.
So that's $70, $80 extra in addition to the $200 that he won in terms of prize money. He takes that 70, 80 from HunteR. He takes the 200. HunteR gets $100 for his second place, and he won the other two. So HunteR has won $500 from Fight Night. KiWiKaKi is currently sitting at 280. If he can protect the bounty, and we don't know who he's going to face next yet.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that we're not done yet. We're giving you guys a special treat because this was not a full distance 5-game series, and we don't want to send you home again that quickly. We're going to come back with a fun game, a little bit of a bonus extra for you guys, where both players are going to swap races, and then we're going to have HunteR with the Orcish Horde to fight KiWiKaKi on the Night Elves. And oh boy, am I excited to see what a creative mastermind such as KiWiKaKi can do with a Night Elf race. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break, and then we're going to see what the reverse races can do. So don't go anywhere, and we'll talk to you in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Heroes Hearth Fight Night. We just witnessed an epic turnaround, an epic crown steal, a crown heist, if you will, by KiWiKaKi, who is now the official champion, with the Orcs overwhelming the Night Elves. He got revenge from Pride, who wasn't able to take the victory away from HunteR. But HunteR, after a solid 2-week domination, or 2-round domination, 4 weeks total, he's definitely going to be in our memories. And speaking of which, guys, we have bad news. Unfortunately, one of the players is not able to make it due to personal schedule interfering a little bit. We had some organization problems there, so we hope you understand. But rest assured that Grubby and I and the rest of Heroes Hearth, we're not done yet. We're going to be back in 14 days. And Grubby, I'm not sure if you read the Discord, but we were already speculating about potential new challengers now for the new reigning Orc champion. And I'm going to tell you 3 names, and you tell me which one you would like to see the most, or what do you think about them? Okay, first one, Priest.
Would be
Human
nice.
player.
Human player,
Second
yeah,
one,
I know.
Hitman.
Hitman, he's Orc, right?
I do believe so.
Yeah.
And last one, last but not least, potentially our first European challenger, Starshaped.
Starship, okay, Night Elf from Sweden. Oh, 3 pretty cool picks. Do we know who it's going to be yet? Or should I say who I hope for?
We do not know. I would love to see some European flavor in there. So Star-Shaped would be my personal favorite. What about you?
I'd like to see Priest. I don't know much about him yet. It's always nice to see new players, at least new for me. And he's human. We haven't seen human in the fight night yet, but I'd be more than okay with any of those. So who's it going to be?
We're going to find out over the next couple of days. We're going to contact all those players. I actually do not know. It was just those 3 players that were mentioned. By the way, guys, if you want to have a say in it, you can also contact us on Twitter. You know, Heroes Hearth, follow Grubby or Kendric Swish, myself. You can let us know who your favorite opponent would be. You can come up with a couple of names as we're expanding our player pool slowly but steadily. For now, I think you had a wonderful time watching some creative orc. Warcraft 3. I hope you did, because Grubby and I definitely did have a good time. It was a pleasure and honor as always, man. And I'll leave the final closing words to you, as per usual.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you had a blast this fight night. We'll be back in a fortnight. That's in 2 weeks. See you then.